Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Um I'm starting a little side timeline, I guess, that's going to be going in parallel with the networking videos that I'm doing on Aristas and GFW. And this, I guess, series of videos, I'm going to be kind of documenting my process of how I am going to be slowly setting up, and I do mean slowly because I do not have full access to my rack at home, so I have to kind of work out a way on how I'm going to figure that out. But for the time being, it's going to be a documentation of the video and all the efforts that I go through to fully deploy an OpenStack cloud privately for my own use case scenario. Now you're probably gonna say, oh, you need a lot of resources for this, blah blah blah. And you're right. So the bare minimum configuration for OpenStack is 5 nodes. So that's 1 control node, 1 storage node, and 3 computational nodes. I have the control and storage nodes readily available, and I kind of thought about it. I might be able to put the C3000 that's been literally just gathering rust in my garage to power up all the computational nodes. I haven't exactly figured it out just yet, but it's something that's in the works. I'm still in the thinking phase and how I'm going to approach this. But for now, the first video that I'm gonna be documenting is the operating system of choice. Now, I did a little bit of research, and through all the findings that I've gone through, it comes back to the same thing, that Ubuntu Server is the best operating system to use for this. I'm sure that different individuals and experienced administrators are going to have a different approach and a different mindset about why I want to use Ubuntu Server. And my thought process is very simple. I have been reading the Mastering of Ubuntu Server 4th edition, and I have been reading some of the OpenStack books for managing and administration. And both of these books basically say that the easiest way to do it, the easiest way to manage and administer OpenStack, is to do it in a Ubuntu Server environment. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I'm just going to do it in a Ubuntu Server environment, and when I become more familiar with the environment and the way that OpenStack works, I will probably experiment with Fedora or CentOS or even Red Hat Enterprise Linux, the developmental edition, obviously, because I don't know if I can afford I don't know if I can afford their licensing fees. So let's dial it back though. Step 1, it's the deployment of the operating system, and in a perfect environment, any operating system that you're running in a production environment, you want to have a failsafe. And the failsafe in this scenario is going to be software RAID 5. Now, there's a lot of arguments on the internet as well about whether or not software RAID 5 or RAID 1 or RAID 1+0 or 5+0 or 6+0 or whatever it is actually is a good way to approach redundancy and disaster avoidance. And there's a lot of comments and threads and people wondering whether or not LVM is a good way to do it. Now, from my comprehension of the subject matter, is that if you're approaching it from the software RAID, you do have that kind of like I guess a little bit of a failsafe, that if something goes wrong with one of the drives that you're going to be using as boot drive, you always have that safety failback. However, with logical volume manager, it's my comprehension is that it just stripes across all drives, and the fault tolerance is not there, which it's fine. It's fine. Sorry. But I do want to explore this potentially running in a 24/7 environment in a data center. So I will need this to have some type of tolerance, fault tolerance, so that my nodes don't go down as soon as like a SSD fails or something like that, you know. So this video is going to be nice and simple. We're just going to install Ubuntu. The condition of installing Ubuntu is going to be in software RAID 5. So for the purpose, I need three storage devices. In this case, you have 0, 1, and 2, 32 gigabytes each. So let's go ahead and start the installation procedure. There we go. We're going to select the boot from removable media, and we're going to start setup, and we're going to wait for it to boot into the installation process. For the simplicity, however, of this video, I do apologize for the long and awkward pause. For the simplicity of this video, we are just going to be focusing on the software RAID 5 configuration of our storage. I'm not really going to be addressing anything networking related. The networking related part is going to come into a separate video, because there is something that also needs to get touched upon, and we're going to be talking about that as well. But for the time being, and for the purpose of this video, we're only going to be touching the storage aspect of it. So whether you update to the latest installer or not is irrelevant, because the process is the same. For the purpose of this video, I am using Ubuntu 22.04.5, the long-term support edition. Let's go ahead and click on next. Now, because this is not really going to be something that people are logging in to manage the server itself, but rather it's going to be an application installed on the server, I choose the minimized version. We're going to leave it as the HCP for now. As mentioned, we're not going to be touching the networking aspect, and we're going to make sure that we have networking. And here we are in the storage environment. So let's go ahead and click on custom storage layout and click on done. Now, as you can see, we have the 3 storage devices. I have looked at tutorials online, and a lot of them reference back from the desktop version of Ubuntu, and they just basically say, yep, select this, convert it to this, do this, blah blah blah, and you're off to the races. Now with Ubuntu Server, it's a little more involved, because you do have to do it in the pre-boot environment, and it's just a couple of extra steps. It's not complicated, it's just a little tedious, but it's not difficult to do, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and like I said, for the purpose of this video, we're just going to do a software RAID 5. But let's go ahead and select the first disk. And in the option pop-up option menu, we're just going to use it as a boot device. Now, the first disk is part of our bootable devices. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for the second one. So select the line that's the hard disk device or the disk device, and open the menu by pressing enter or space, and then click on add as another boot device, and then do the same thing with the last drive. Now, if you notice the two options to create a software RAID via the MD and the volume group via the logical volume manager have gone gray. And that's because the next step that we need to take care of is create a unformatted partition. So select the free space on the first disk and click on add GPT partition. The size, you're going to leave that empty so that it selects the maximum partition size. Under format, we're going to leave it unformatted, and we're not going to select a mount point. Now we have a partition and it's unused. We're going to do the same thing for the second disk. We're just going to leave the size empty so that it selects the max partition size. And we're going to leave it unformatted with no mount point. And then the same thing for the third disk. Add GPT, leave unformatted, and create. Now, the two options for software RAID and logical volume management have become available again. So let's go ahead and select the create software RAID MD option. Now we have a new menu that pops up by a menu that allows us to select the different RAID options and then which devices to select. So we're going to scroll down to RAID level. We're going to select RAID level 5. And then we're going to be given a notification that RAID level 5 requires at least 3 active devices. So scroll down just a little bit more, highlight the first partition, the available partition on the first drive. Click space to select it. And the secondary option needs to remain active. Do the same for the second drive and the same for the third drive, making sure that both options are selected as active. And once we select that and it becomes a valid RAID selection, we are going to have the new size for a RAID 5 partition, and the create option, the create button is going to become available for selection. So highlight the create button, press enter, and now we have a new partition that's under MD0, new space unused, which says software RAID 5 and 61.86 gigabytes of free space. Now, highlight the free space and select it with enter, add a GPT partition, leave the size window empty so that it can select the maximum partition size. Format is going to be ext4 and the mount point is going to be slash or root. Click on create, and that's going to create our new partition, which is mount point root. And as you can see, the done button has now become available. Go ahead and click on enter, and it's going to confirm. Do you want to perform the destruction on all the selected above devices? We're going to go ahead and click on continue. Now, if you need to do a more complicated RAID setup, whether it's going to be 6, 1 plus 0, 5 plus 0, 6 plus 0, or whatever it may be, just make sure that you have the available necessary partitions or disk devices so that active and backup devices requirements are satisfied. Now, let's see where hardware unleashed, home lab unleashed. Server's name is soft raid. The username is going to be soft raid as well, and password is pass123 exclamation point, pass123 exclamation point, and then we're going to click on done. We're not going to select Ubuntu Pro, and for to sake of always reinstall SSH server, no additional extras. Now I'm going to pause this, and then we're just going to boot in the installation once that is done, and we are going to verify our boot device. All right, and installation just finished. I'm just in the process of rebooting this real quick. And if I remember correctly, the command is lsbok. One sudo su one lsbok. Perfect. Okay, so if you guys remember, we did create everything over three storage devices, and as you can see, this is the finalized partition layout on how it works. So you have SDA, SDB, SDC, partitions 1 and 2. There we go. 2, 1 and 2, and 1 and 2 on each one of the devices, and the total size being 61.9 gigabytes, despite the fact that each drive is only 32. Thank you for joining me on this one. I do plan on making this, and I want to sort of underline that it is going to be a slow series because of how many cogwheels and connecting points there are for everything to work together. But it is a series that will eventually complete, and at the end of it all, there will be a functioning cloud environment for access and to tinker around with. Thank you very much. I will see you guys in the next one.